And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, for another episode of Rogue Action, starting off your Monday morning work week with us two, fools, weirdos. I don't know.
I think the preferred nomenclature is nerds.
Yes, Star Wars nerds. That's exactly what we are. Absolutely. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to Rogue Actions. You guys know the drill. 3 episodes over here on this channel, 3 episodes over on Shawka's channel. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, all that fun stuff over here, as well as over there. Links are in the description below to get the full story. You guys are not going to want to miss this because we got a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of good stuff, a lot of big changes coming up through here. That being said, Shawka, how are you doing, my man? Welcome.
Doing good. I didn't realize we were doing episodes for each of these things. I thought we were just doing topics. Man, we're really expanding, guys.
Is that what we're calling them now?
It's what you said. 3 episodes. We got 3 episodes here, 3 episodes there.
Yeah, shit, we do. Yeah, well, demonetized. There we go. Damn it. We just wing it, guys. That's what we do. Oh.
Yeah, no, I'm doing good though.
I'm not ready for, depending on the outcome, because we're recording this on Saturday. Depending on the outcome of tomorrow, change my view on Shawka here. Because for those of you who don't know, I'm a huge Cowboys fan, obviously. And this guy over here likes the Steelers for some weird reason. And they're clashing. Now,
I'm usually pretty objective on the Steelers. Like, I actually thought we would lose to the Colts last week. Mm-hmm. I think we're going to crush the Cowboys. And by crush, I mean, like, we're going to win. I don't know that we're going to crush you. We never crush anybody. But at home, in a night game experience, we are very tough to beat. Our defense is going to feast on Dak, unfortunately. Yeah. Because he's in my fantasy football team. But, yeah, I think you guys are going to lose. Sorry.
No, no apology necessary. I think we're gonna lose too, because Jerry is playing like trash this year, and by playing I mean he's leading and coaching and all that stuff. He's being Jerry, and he's screwing over the rest of the team because we're playing 3 guys are a third of our salary cap, and it's just just don't even get me started on the Cowboys. Just at this point, I'm hoping that we just keep losing so that we can get a better draft pick next year.
There you go.
All right, so we're going to start off with, of course, the mini meme of the week. And normally we go with the Star Wars theme. However, this week we did have a really good one that we were like, I really, really, really like this one, and we just could not sway off of it. So shout out to Valkorian for the meme of the week submission. If you guys would like to submit a meme of the week in here for Rogue Actions, myself and Shawka will vote on it every single week. So you can go to my Discord, go to meme submissions, and put your meme in there and get a shout out every week for Rogue Actions. So this one, once you lick the frosting off of a cupcake, it becomes a muffin. And muffins are healthy. You're welcome. I like this one. It's a little bit of like, it makes sense, right? All the unhealthy stuff is the icing. So, you take off the unhealthy stuff, you have a muffin.
Fun fact, I actually don't like cupcakes.
Shocking.
Yeah, I don't like cake in general, and I really don't like the icing that they use on cupcakes. I like cream cheese icing, but that's like never on cupcakes. So I pretty much will never eat a cupcake, but I do love me some muffins. So I would easily take a muffin any day of the week over a cupcake. So I am all aboard this meme. I'll let you lick the frosting off, Ram.
Oh, whoa. Okay, I thought what happened on Twitch stays on Twitch, but I guess not. Shawka just brought it over here.
Naughty.
Oof. Well, it kind of reminds me like, so same thing applies, right? You have the frosting that's on a donut. You take the frosting off of a donut, it becomes a bagel, and bagels are healthy. So whoa.
No, absolutely not.
Yes.
No.
It's the same shape and everything. It makes sense.
No.
Yes.
No, a donut, even a plain old-fashioned donut with nothing else on it is still better than a bagel. We are not comparing a donut to a bagel. Not even the same conversation. No one's eating a bagel. No one's eating a bagel. Blah, 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 blah. No one's eating a bagel. I don't know what the words in the middle are. Anyway.
I don't think anybody knows what the words in the middle are. Oh, God. Shout out to Valkorian for this amazing meme. You guys got to really follow Shawka on Twitch for the whole bagel meme donut muffin thing. That's, yeah. You're missing out on a lot of stuff. Absolutely. You had to be there. All right. So we're going to be talking about something that kind of came out a little bit maybe unexpected, but at the same time expected if you look at it from, a whole bunch of different data. SWGOH Burnout, right, is obviously, it's always been a thing. And even though we've said it multiple times, I know I've said it, Shawka said it, the game is in a very, very, very good spot right now as far as what we're getting, gameplay wise, all that stuff. But something that, and shout out to Celia Xera, who recently retired from the game. She quit because it's a time sink. There's a lot of time required in order to play at a certain level. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot that's being done to kind of offset the time required for it. But there's a lot that could be done. So, and I want to get your thoughts here in a second, Shawka, but something that if anybody's ever played Marvel Strike Force that I think they do really well is they reward players by logging in every day. Not just daily rewards, but what they do is they automate your daily tasks. They automate them after every time that you log in. So as long as you keep logging in every day, it gives you an incentive. They will go ahead and automate about 7 or 8 dailies, I think. They automate it, and all you have to do is just hit claim. You don't have to go in and do an arena about it. You don't have to go in and train up a character. You don't have to go in and level up something. All the basic ones, they just automate it for you. I think that's something that SWGOH could, and honestly at this point as an 8-year-old game, should do. That would alleviate a lot of the time just going in, not having to do a squad arena battle. You can make that to where you don't have to lose rank or anything, and you just go in and you get the credit for it. I don't know. That's just one change.
Great. That'd be great. I mean, so we talked about on last night's stream how so I admittedly am in was in a similar situation to Celia Xera, where I had quit the game for 9 months because of burnout. And one of the big reasons that I burned out was back then was the squad arena and fleet arena climb, where you'd have to devote literally like 3 to 4 hours a day just climbing in arenas. And I hated it. And so when I did finally come back to the game, I just refused to do any arenas, period. I just wouldn't do them. So I wouldn't even get my daily stuff done because I just flat out refused to kind of get back into that toxic atmosphere and setting where I was just devoting hours and hours and hours for a stupid game mode that really sucks, to be honest with you. Now, I've finally gotten more comfortable with the idea of just doing a single battle to get my dailies, and I moved on from that. But even better then, like you said, just make it a simmable button. And obviously one of the big questions people are going to have is, well, what about, fleet arena in particular? Like, do you move up? Do you move down? Do you not move? Like, what do you do? Well, if you're doing the sim, it's just the same thing as if you were to go in and retreat. Like, it's just an immediate loss. You don't move up or down. It just counts as you having done that daily. Like, that would be absolutely amazing. And I get, obviously, the other question becomes, well, what about energy? What if you don't have the energy to complete those things? Well, I think then in that case, the sim button is not available until you have the energy needed to run that sim button. It's the same thing as if you were to sim multiple battles on a light side battle. You still have to have the energy to do it, but that would be such an amazing way to reduce the load on us in this game. I think without a doubt that would help. I think so. Even though that's a good fix, I think that's still a relatively small part of the game.
Absolutely.
So if I go in, I can get my dailies done in 5 to 10 minutes. that's not, I think, the real problem in the game right now. The real problem in the game is Conquest and TB, and to some lesser degree, TW and GAC. The reason I say lesser degree in those is because you can kind of control your approach to those things. If you're in a non-competitive TW guild, TW is probably not that bad for you. But if you're in a highly competitive guild, TW is probably terrible. You have to be available 24 hours basically for that. Like I don't think there's an easy solution to the PvP content, to be clear, guys. But the PvE stuff, it's a really easy solution. It's called a sim button. Like, especially like TB and Raid. God, Raid. Let's come back to that in a second. But TB alone, like if we are able to max out the waves in a battle, then we should just be able to click the characters that we want to assign to it, and then boom, sim, and we're done. I get that you can't just sim them right out the gate because you have to assign characters to that battle. Fine, but let me assign those characters. If I've already 3-starred it or maxed out the wave, whatever the word is, then I should be able to just sim that. It should be super easy. Even at a minimum, even if that's not something that they think is functional. Whoops, sorry about Fritz, guys. At a minimum, we still have old events where we can't sim them yet, like a JTR event. We still can't sim that crap. We can sim the first level of it, but not the second and third levels.
Yeah.
Like, that makes no sense at all. None. Like, just put in some sim buttons.
Yep.
Then there's a whole raid side of it too. Graham, go ahead while I yell at Fritz a little bit here.
So, right. So you have the issue of TB could absolutely be simmed, right? You have where, I don't know, back in, what was it, a few years ago, probably 5-6 years ago, they brought up the whole change to Galactic Challenge or Galactic Conquest.
Yeah.
Whatever that green token stuff is that you get, that everybody just hits sim now, right? There was a requirement to hit that sim button at one point in time. It was like 100 battles or something. They could do the same thing with TB, right? Go in.
Galactic War, by the way, is what you're saying.
Galactic War, there we go. Right? So they could do the same thing with TB. You go in, and as long as you are you go in with full character surviving. Fritz is really vocal today. You go in with full character surviving, you get a certain number of times completion or whatever, and it just unlocks the sim button, right? Because wow,
he's trying to kill somebody. He almost pulled me out of the room.
Wow, I don't think we've ever seen Fritz this vocal on Rogue Actions before.
Not even in streams.
No,
like he literally, like I was holding his collar, and he literally just started pulling my chair out the door.
We're not editing this, by the way. This is just gonna stay here. Just screw it.
Love it. I'm gonna go get him. Oh God, he's going crazy. I'll be back in a second.
Get him a Job's Knows Best. But yeah, so I mean, I'd love to hear down in the comments what you guys think as far as what changes they could do to make some time sinks, make it less of a time sink. The Jabba modding thing, they could absolutely do a sim button for that. They've done sim buttons for the assault battles. Those are great. Putting a sim button in for all the monotonous, the JTR or the R2D2 training droids, they could put in a sim button for that. You could put sim buttons in for raids, right? What we're currently going through right now, Shawka, is Hell Week. As my guild competitively calls it, is we're like, prepare for Hell Week, because what do we have? Right. We have Conquest, we have TP, we have a raid, we usually have, some Galactic Challenges, whatnot that come around. And it's just, at any given day, I have to commit probably about 3 to 4 hours. Luckily my guild does not care about TW as far as long as you don't join, doesn't matter. So I'm not required to join, so I don't care. So I get like a week off essentially every other week. But TB is just, oh God, such an awful time sink.
It is. And I get the argument that most guilds at this point really don't need to do battles. But even then, like, you could still make it a little bit easier. Like the special battles, like just allow us to sim those once we've maxed those out too. Like they're just, it's not that there is any one thing outside of raid. There's not that there's any one thing that's really the problem. It's across the game. There are so many monotonous things that we just simply don't need to do over and over and over again. And they take forever to do as well. That's the other issue.
Yeah.
Raid is a whole nother story. The raid, we've been, this is a dead horse. Like we've been beating it. Like it's the RNG factor. If I could go in and just be done in 5 minutes for a battle, fine. I don't need a sim button. But that's not the way this raid works. Like, and I really do think the raid is, if people are quitting right now, it's because of that. Like, imagine running, because this kind of happened to us, imagine running the raid and TB and Conquest all at the same time. Like, it's disgusting. It's just, there's just too much to do in the game, and they need sim buttons in many, many, many places throughout the game. Yeah. I get that time in game equals money for them, but I'm still going to spend a ton of time in the game. Don't make Conquest simple. Fine. They've done a good job at alleviating some of the over-the-top game, time sink involved in Conquest. I'm fine with no sim buttons on that. But they need to bring it to TB. They need to bring it especially to the raid, if the raid is going to be the way it is right now. If they get rid of the RNG factors, fine. But with the way the raid is now, there needs to be sim buttons, because the RNG is insane. It literally takes an hour and a half to run a single wave, or a single battle, I should say. Like, it's nuts. And they're going to lose players if they don't make some changes. Simple as that.
Yeah. I mean, so to be fair, to give them credit, the raids have gotten better. They have brought in some positive changes, I think, to make changes to the raids that are better for the player base than what they were.
Right. I don't have an issue with the raid itself. It's
the amount of time.
RNG. It's the RNG, and as a result, the time involved. Yeah. If there was not this RNG factor, and you just had the relic levels and the mods that are needed, and you could go in and complete it in 5 minutes, it'd be fine.
Yeah.
But that's not the case. Like, so as an example, I'll run the outside of my Gungan team, I have the mods that I need on all of my teams, and I still might have to run it, 5, 6, 7 times before I finally get the RNG that it's supposed to get for me to max out the wave. Like, the number of times, and this is a bug even, the number of times that the stat droids take a turn before you go to the actual fleet battle thing, so you're just screwed. That ruins the run because of a bug. Like, that's not supposed to happen, but it happens.
So,
like bugs, RNGs, all of this stuff in this raid, man, that's not the raid itself. It's just stuff that needs to not be there.
So I'm going to present this awful idea to you, or not idea, comparison. Would you rather have the Gungan raid that we have currently, or go back to the speeder bike raid? Because the speeder bike raid, correct me if I'm wrong, it felt like there was less RNG with that. It was just, you had to go in, you always use the third button, you always use the first button, you alternate between the two, and it was timely, but you knew what you had to hit to get a certain score. With this thing, it's just, it doesn't matter what you hit. If they don't get that certain little buff, then you don't go into the space battle with the right thing, and then you have to back out, and the times of the droids, and yeah.
I think when you ask me this question would dictate my answer. If you asked me this back in July/August, I would take the current raid, because we were still figuring things out. We were still testing things. Like, I liked that part of the game, because this raid is what a raid should be, in my opinion, in terms of the actual gameplay. But if you ask me that question now, I'd rather have the speeder bike raid.
Ooh.
Like, I am over it. I'm over playing this game and not being able to do it because of bugs and or horrendous RNG elements in the game mode. Like, that's not fun. It's just not fun.
Right.
Like, And that's all they have to fix. Just take out this RNG element, and the raid is okay. I get that there's some people that still argue there's too many waves, but I think that if you could get your relic levels and mod levels where they need to be at, and you can just do one run and you're done, I don't think the waves would actually be that big of an issue. Like, it'd still only be a 5-minute run per team. That's 25 minutes. That's not that bad. I think I think that should be their thing to shoot for. 30 minutes in total for raid for you to complete it. Anything more than that, and it's a problem.
Right.
Like I said, it's just the RNG. It really is.
Yeah.
Take out that stupid RNG element of this raid, and it's fine. But they won't.
No. Well, because and I'd almost be curious to hear the analytics side of this, because you said it earlier, time equals money for them.
Right.
The longer you're playing this game, the more they get paid. I'm curious as to how much that is versus people that are, what they're losing, right? Because they have to know that they're losing players because of the time sink required for this game. And those are people that aren't buying packs anymore. Those are people that aren't buying, refreshes with crystals and all that stuff anymore. And that has to be, I would feel like, more costly in the long run than just the amount of time required for each player to play this game. I don't know.
I think the issue with that is there's not really a way for them to know that, because the only way to know that is you'd have to run surveys constantly asking why people are either quitting the game or spending less money, or like they'd have to have reasons for the causation. Otherwise, you're just looking at correlation, and that's not actually telling you real data.
Right.
But yeah, the best they can go with is just seeing trends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they have to adjust based on those trends. So, yeah, I don't know. That's a good question, though.
I don't know. Let us know down in the comments below. Are you going through burnout? Are you getting tired of the time sinking required of this game? Or do you just have 8 days available, 25 hours a day? You're that one person in the world that has the amount of time required to play this game, and you have no issue with it at all. Let us know down in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. All right. So, the last topic. On
a side note, for anybody that was wondering why Fritz was going bananas, there was some dude at my front door. That's why. He was knocking at my door, and I couldn't hear him because I had headphones on. So he was like trying to murder the guy. That's what it was.
So don't ever come to your house. Got it.
Yeah, it was some rando salesman. Sometimes they come on Saturday afternoons. They drive me nuts. I'm like, I don't want it. Go away.
You're the cranky old man.
I am. Anyway, sorry.
So we have the topic of Makegoods. And so for those of you guys who did not, see the last few weeks, or maybe you're on an Android like me, so you just don't have this issue, iPhone went through a massive issue where it was not allowing players to play. They had bugs getting into the game. They had audio issues, all kinds of stuff. And it was awful. And it cost people, it's part of the reason why Merrick ended up having to get pushed back. His event got pushed back. They brought him in the game, but then we can't play him for a few days because they had to fix this whole issue. And it prevented people from being able to go into TB. That's the real big issue right there. People couldn't go into TB to do stuff. So a lot of guilds lost stars, which ultimately equal rewards. So that being said, knowing all that, I don't think they put out anything saying, hey, for the people that experience this issue, here's a make good for this. And we don't know when this make good will come out, but here's a make good that we intend to do, or that there will be some sort of make good. They have not come out, as far as I've seen, and said anything like that. And so because sometimes they'll come out with make goods and sometimes they won't. So what do we think determines them giving out a make good, and what should be a qualifying event for a make good?
That's a good question. So I think that has multiple layers to it, because there's what they used to do versus what they do now. What they used to do is they'd give out, your basic Clone War Chewie Shard.
Yep.
They'd give out crystals that they felt like were at least equivalent to what you would have lost, and then maybe a little bit extra. And then if there was actual legitimate materials that would be attached with that, they try to give you those materials that you would have lost as well.
Yeah.
I honestly, Ram, don't remember the last time we've had a make good. I cannot remember the last time that happened. I think if I were to guess, so when
It's been a while.
When Doja Fett left, I can't remember if new leadership took over when he was still there or if they took over after he left. But I know there was new leadership that came in. They may have gone through multiple leadership too at this point.
They did.
But I know when that one instance happened around Doja Fett's time, that's when we just stopped seeing Makegoods across the board. I don't think we've seen one since then, which I think is ridiculous, especially, and here's where I would say the line is at, especially when it costs you crystals. Or in this case, in a specific event like TB, it costs you, those kinds of materials. If it's something a little bit more minor, like reroll mats, we'll talk about that in a second. I can see maybe not doing a make good, especially not across the player base, because it's a very specific group of people that would have been affected. But this whole iPhone issue, that has affected, one, a ton of people. Two, it could potentially have affected their fleet climbs. That's crystals. It affected their TB payouts. That's crystals and other mats as well. It could have affected their conquest as well. They weren't able to do conquest stuff. So that at minimum is conquest energy, potentially even datacrons and or, heaven forbid, the ability to get Ezra, a character unlock. Like, the stuff just keeps compounding and compounding and compounding. And for them to not have a make good for this is, in my opinion, an absolute robbery of the player base. At minimum, you have to at least at minimum give everybody, in my opinion, like 500 crystals. Let me rephrase that. Anyone that has had this issue with iPhones, I have not, you have not. I don't need those crystals. I did not experience an issue. Those people at minimum should get 500 crystals for like a fleet payout, for instance. But where I think should get compensated is for something like TB. They, in my opinion, because this affected TB deployment and stuff like that, everyone should get at minimum the rewards that they got in their last TB. If somebody, I don't know if they can do this from a programming standpoint, if somebody does better this time because it didn't affect them that very much, fine, let them have their current rewards. But at minimum, everybody should get at least what they got on their previous TB, because this did affect a lot of guilds and their ability to deploy and get stars and things like that. So again, like, there needs to be some kind of make good. I'm not looking for 2,000 crystals or something ridiculous. Like, I'm not even looking for hey, we screwed up, guys. Here's 500 crystals just because we screwed up. Because that's what they used to do. Like, they used to just give you 500 crystals to the whole player base because they messed up something.
Yep. Sorry for the inconvenience.
Right. Yep. That was amazing. I was all about it. I was like, oh, you guys screwed up. Woohoo. I didn't even know. Like, we're not even asking for that. We're just asking to be compensated the stuff that we lost because you screwed up.
Yeah.
Like, we're not asking for that much here. Like, I think at minimum, that kind of stuff needs to happen. Crystals and specific event currency needs to be replenished. Like, I don't even want to say rewarded, because that's not even the right word.
So correct me if I'm wrong, because again, I did not have this issue, and maybe if you had this issue, maybe you can comment in comments below and let us know. I don't necessarily think this was a SWGOH CG issue completely, right? Obviously, they're the game developers and whatnot.
That's a good point.
But everything I've kind of heard from people that were in my guild that did go through this issue, because again, this did affect TB outcomes in a way because people weren't able to log in. This is due to iOS 18 getting pushed out.
Oh.
And if that's an Apple issue, then I'm not sitting here trying to always blame CG just because they're CG, right? I will give credit where credit is due, and if it's not completely their fault, they are the game developers, so they do need to make sure that their app is compatible with the latest and greatest of whatever Apple and Google are putting out. So that part is their responsibility. But if it's an unforeseen issue, yes, a make good is still needed, absolutely, of some sort. But to be clear, I don't want to just say if it's not completely CG's fault, it's CG's fault. No.
Right.
No, give them credit where credit is due, right? I do believe this was an iOS issue, but that being said, we have had issues in the past where it is CG's fault and we still get no make good. So,
right.
you know.
Yeah, I still think they can still at least do a compensation of what you missed out on. Like doing that doesn't cost them money. Like no. They're just giving us imaginary currency. It does not cost them a thing. Like they could do that. And I understand people could argue like, well, that means that's crystals that you don't buy. Bananas. Like, come on now. No one is going out and buying.
Yes.
Yeah, no one is going out and buying like 500 crystals, guys, because they didn't get a TB star. Like, no. So I'm sorry, that's not real. Like, at least compensate what people missed out on because of the scenario. But that is a good point about it. It may not actually be CG's fault, but still, you know.
Yeah,
that's the nature of the beast, man. If you're in charge of something and somebody else screws up, you still have to deal with it. You know, just a part of the job. I think
what they could do, and again, I don't know the technical stuff behind all this, so it may be impossible. It's an idea that me as a player has. They could do previous TB rewards if your guild was to get less than what the, you know, if your guild got 39 last time and they only get 38 stars this time, then they upgrade you to 39 stars. Here's the rewards, right? Mm-hmm. Or you get no rewards if your guild, let's say you got 39 last time and your guild somehow got 40 this time. Cool. Then really the Apple thing didn't really impact you, so you get your 40 star worth of rewards.
Right.
But at a minimum, I think what should happen is every player gets 250 to 500 for inconvenience, right? Because it's affected them some way, either their guild directly infected, the raids, conquest, something, right. or as well, Apple iOS players, and maybe they can target this down to specifically those players that, you know, suffered the issue. I don't know. They could give them 250 or 500 crystals specifically only for Apple or those players that specifically got this issue. I don't know. I'd be interested to hear, you know, you guys' thoughts down in the comments. Let us know what you think they could do. If they could, maybe you guys know a little bit more technical stuff than I do, or Shawka does. Shawka's a black hole of everything. He
know more than I do.
Right. And I know a little bit of technical stuff, but I'm not a game developer by any means.
Oh,
so
I don't mean you. I meant the audience. They definitely know more than I do.
I think Fritz knows more than you do at this point.
Mm-hmm. Very possible.
So I don't know. That being said, that's just our thoughts. Let us know down in the comments below what you guys think. We'll see you over on Shawka's video for Rogue Actions Part 2. Got some good topics over there. He's feeling a little bit feisty about some issues that we'll get into over there. So leave a like, comment down, subscribe, all that fun stuff. We'll see you over there. Until next time, Squadron dismissed.